Hello, it's Hatsuchi here. The Overlord collab just dropped and I'm here for a quick thoughts video on how relevant these two units will be for the current and future PvP meta. So let's start with the better unit here, Albedo. Actually not terrible in the current debuff meta. When everyone is trying their hardest to pick up the debuff spammers of Reen, Bozo, Licorice, and the such, Albedo can use her attack skill to transfer 3 of these debuffs onto her target, which is quite nice. The only recommendation for equipment I have would be the Bracer emblem here, just so you don't have to worry about getting silenced, otherwise that shuts down her skill. But then you will suffer to heal blocks. The most commonly used tank right now is the Lancer Landius, which can get countered by Albedo's infantry class. When her 3C 30% triggers, that reduces damage taken by 50%, she takes a lot less damage thanks to her other talent, which also reduces damage by up to 25% at 6 stars. So a total of 75% damage reduction can really make her laugh at any sort of single target damage. But this is kind of RNG since the 3C only has a trigger chance of 30% here. However, Albedo does suffer from a multitude of problems. First, she desperately needs a faction buff from another unit. Landius faction buffs for himself and a bunch of other strong legend units, and being a tank makes him a great first pick choice. But after picking Albedo, you still have to get a faction buff, Sophia, or at least a defense buff from somewhere else for specifically Albedo, which can be quite limiting to your game plans. Albedo does not have any sort of aura effects, unlike Landius 3C, which reduces the range damage for their whole team, making Albedo quite a selfish tank. So what makes Albedo strong right now? She can be good facing against Lancer Landius for sure, and with her offensive skill, she can take some amount of debuffs here. She can use this quite often if she has a lot of debuffs on her, dispelling 3 and then transferring them to the target. But she's not good at all if the enemy team have just way too much AoE damage, because she's not bringing enough to help the team, that way compared to Landius and Juggler. So onto team compositions. Albedo works best with units that can gospel themselves, like Liana and Rachel, and is best when facing against either single target teams thanks to her 3C RNG, or against debuffs teams thanks to her offensive skill here. She is however one of the worst tanks against heavy AoE damage teams that uses Ares, Listel, Shaltear, and other units that just look to two-shot your entire team with AoE combos. So Albedo in the future is most likely not going to have a team in any teams just because of her selfish nature. When Bozo and Licorice and other of her buffers becomes less relevant, then so will Albedo here. So I expect her to be cut as soon as Rosencio releases in about a month. I could be wrong though, since Albedo can still be good against single target attackers even after the debuffers drop off. That's unfortunately all that I've got good to say about the Overlord collab here. My first impressions of Shaltear is that she is just overall a worse Brenda. Only single target skills, no guard ignore, limiting class and troop choices with just Lancer, Flyer, and Demons. Very low mobility. She really doesn't do much of anything impressive from her kit, unfortunately, and I can't see Shaltear having a place in any high tier PvP team ever. So overall, this banner is not a must-have for PvP, If you love the characters, definitely roll for them since since the Overlord collabs is a collab and they are rare to return. It's also possible in the future that they might get buffed with special classes or equipments which can make them relevant again. We don't know that though. So, yeah, that's it for now, and everyone take care until next time.